Salute, everyone. The streets are buzzing. Hope you're doing well. Great to be with you as always. Great show coming up. Lots to talk about as the FIBA World Cup first round is about to end. And our New York Knicks are on fire. Headed to the knockout rounds. We'll talk about it as Team USA, Team Canada picked up some big wins. RJ Barrett bounced back. Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart contributing big in the big win this morning against Greece. And we'll look ahead to the knockout rounds. And how far can these Knicks go? Evan Fournier and France are out of the tournament as today the final games of the group round comes to a head. And I will talk about the latest Knicks news going on. The Antetokounmpo and Giannis. There's some links in the news to the New York Knicks. We'll talk about that. And MSG being extended for 5 more years in terms of the permit. We'll talk about that as well. But salute. Hope everyone's doing well. Let's get into it. Let's have a great conversation. And I salute to the best chat in the biz. Salute, Knicks Nation. How are we feeling? I'm feeling great as the New York Knicks have had a great performance in their second game in the group stages of the FIBA World Cup. Jalen Brunson, 5 of 5, efficient, 13 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists as they cruise to another victory, their second of the tournament. RJ Barrett in Canada yesterday also had their second game, and RJ Barrett bounced back. Obviously, Lebanon, Canada had their way, but RJ Barrett was efficient, 7 of 12, 17 points, 3 assists. A great windmill dunk. We'll bring up the highlights. We'll hear from Jalen Brunson post-game as well. And like I said, we'll talk about what's to come in round 2. And looking ahead for the latest Knicks news. Antetokounmpo, like I said, spoke to a European media outlet, talked about how close he was to joining the New York Knicks. The Knicks had significant interest in bringing him in. We saw him last night against Team USA. And then we've also today heard some news from Mark Stein, his newsletter, talking about the talk around the league is that Giannis, if he was to, leave Milwaukee, the Lakers and the Knicks are markets everyone is expecting him to be interested in. So the Knicks being strategic, were they really interested in Thanasis? Obviously a former Knick, Phil Jackson drafted him as well. So we'll talk about that tonight's show. We'll shout out the chat. As always, salute. How we feeling, Kerry? Dirty Dancer, salute. Prometheus, that's a tap. Have you guys been watching the games? Let us know. I know the time zone is a bit off. It's challenging. But like I said, man, the most important thing is that this first round's coming to an end. And I want to talk about what is really lying ahead in the second round of this tournament. Knockout basketball, really. Do or die stakes. That's the closest thing to the playoffs. These group games have been, decent to get our guys warmed up. They've produced for the most part. But yeah, can Canada and Team USA meet in the knockout rounds? That'll be very interesting. Are there any teams that are going to challenge them? We'll talk about that. But in terms of, just their performance, handling their business, right? Playing team ball, Jalen Brunson, again, he stands out, not because he's flashy, but he stands out because he's a winner. Again, he was super efficient, 5 of 5. Shot the 3 ball decent as well. Moved the ball. And just picking his spots like always. But Josh Hart got more burn this time. He had 20 minutes, 11 boards. And there were some great quotes from Steve Kerr talking about and Eric Spoelstra giving Josh Hart his flowers as well. So Josh Hart doing Josh Hart things. We know how important he is to the New York Knicks. He's that great team player, a glue guy, and he's all about winning. He'll just do whatever it takes. But yeah, RJ Barrett, it was good to see his highlight reel in his package. We'll pull it up as well, including a really flashy dunk. It was great to see him get in his groove, and do his thing. So yeah, he had 17 points, 3 assists. Like I said, he led his country, Team Canada. Then we have the big windmill, the leak out. But Lebanon, again, taking it with a grain of salt because of the opposition. But we'll focus on the second round, and knockout round, meaning that our New York Knicks really need to produce, right? Produce or go home. Just like Evan Fournier has gone home now. France, too reliant on him, Rudy Gobert, and not enough help. What's good, fam? Salute Johnny Davis. What's good? Yeah, we'll talk about this permit with MSG, right? The Garden, Dirty says, is on borrowed time with the Penn Station revamp and all of that. A 5-year extension. James Dolan, MSG, put out a statement. They were upset. They were hoping for an extension in perpetuity. The smallest extension that the the MSG has had, right, in its history. We have some updates from Stephen Bondi saying he feels like it only stalls the conversation about MSG moving. Dolan wanted the permit, forever. The council now limiting MSG's operation permit to 5 years, the shortest permit length ever. So yeah, we wait to see what comes of that. But yeah, one can speculate 100%. I hope they don't play in some goofy sphere as well. MSG will always be MSG. It's special. Let's hope that all ends well. In terms of the arena, Knicks fans will always create the best atmosphere, no doubt, whatever building it's in. But I would love a bigger, don't get me wrong, I'd love to stay at MSG where it's at. But imagine a super stadium with 25,000 plus. That'd be awesome. We know they're all about making more bread as well. We know we can fill the arena as well. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, definitely watching the replay. Even where I'm at, it's late at night, so I don't blame you guys for, no one's waking up that early. But maybe for a quarterfinal, semi-final, gold medal game, we'll see. Kerry, what's good? 11 rebounds for Josh Hart, in 20 minutes. So, and actually Greece, whatever you could say about the opponent, Greece actually has some of the bigger size out of any team. So that means something in this performance from Josh Hart. As we have the highlights from Bully Barrett on screen. Obviously, a lot was made of his previous first game, the 1 of 10, when he went inefficient. But this was a different story. 7 of 12, got after it, highlight play, and led Canada in this performance as well. Lebanon don't have the talent, of course, to hang. But one thing, I could definitely say is teams are physical. We know, when you're battling a dude in the park or the YMCA, and he's got your number, all you can do is just be physical. Just bump the person off their spot, foul the hell out of them, get in their head, trash talk, etc. But yeah, these guys are keeping their cool. I haven't seen any brawls break out. Some players have voiced their frustration, at a lesser opponent getting into you, fouling you. But yeah, you just got to keep your cool. I like the fact that they're rotating these minutes. One, I want every Knick to stay out of this, be healthy, come out of this tournament really healthy, unscathed, with medals around their neck, like I said in the last show. But physical competition is good. It's really going to prepare them for a big NBA season coming up. The other factor I mentioned is, they're playing with good teammates, right? So, you got to sort of humble yourself. They've got to swallow their ego and play within the team concept. And that's what most of all these Knicks have done, really. I mean, I think the most any Knick has had is 10 shot attempts, which 12 with this performance with Barrett, but previously he went 1 of 10. Obviously, SGA's been a standout, but with no Jamal Murray and no Andrew Wiggins, I expected Barrett to get plenty of usage and a TCL player of the game. Salute, right? Good bounce back. Like I said, we'll look ahead. Who do Canada play next? They're basically all but through to the next round, and Team USA's through. Evan Fournier and France were in Canada's group, but they're going home. Man, what an upset. KP's Latvia put the beat down, came from behind to beat France and knock them out. France had that final possession. Evan Fournier was bringing the ball up. He was swarmed. He had to move it, and his teammate missed the three. So, man, what a disaster for France and the hopes that they had to at least get to the second round. The Olympics is being hosted in France next year, and the Paris Olympics. I'm assuming they're going to qualify no matter what as the host nation. But being knocked out of the tournament this early can't be good. They're going to call for reinforcements. Victor Wembanyama and maybe Joel Embiid for the Olympics. Man, being knocked out by Latvia was crazy. But respect to the opponent, respect to Latvia. They did it. They shot the lights out. They knocked them out. It just goes to show, talent or, a name talent or NBA talent or not. These guys are professionals. They can shoot. They can put the ball in the rock. If you're well coached, you move the ball well, you can beat anybody. Now, with Team USA, the biggest thing has always just been chemistry. The talent is there. They're better than any country, better than any team. Talent versus talent. But sometimes, guys want to take over and they don't want to play within the team concept. But so far, Team USA has been great in terms of chemistry. These younger generation guys with Hart, Brunson, Ant-Man, Tyrese, Brandon Ingram, Austin Reeves, Bobby Portis, these guys, they're really bonding and are really playing well. So we'll look into the next round. But good to see, the Knicks really contribute a lot. Like the 13 points for Brunson, a lot of that came in the first quarter. And Jalen Brunson got Team USA off to a great start. We'll pull up some of our Team USA's highlights as well, and we'll look into that. But basically, they were really unselfish moving the ball. And it was great to see, these guys step up and play big. There you see Brunson going to work. There's his new wife, Ellie, I believe. Salute, supporting her hubby on the world stage. He's bringing the ball up. Greece, like I said, has size. They hung with Team USA early, but I think Team USA's calling card is basically their defense. They can swarm teams like no other team. They got length. They can block the hell out of shots. And then you turn the ball over on Team USA, it's going to be a fast break dunk, layup, or transition three. So I think, based on what I've seen, man, I think Canada have the best chance. Right, no coincidence with their athletic talent as well. Look, Germany have been pretty impressive. They've got the size, I guess. They've got the big men, and they've got NBA quality guards with Schroeder, obviously. Dominican Republic could be a wild card. Karl Anthony Towns is going spaz. So we look out to see. I think they're set to make the next round. And who else? Obviously Spain, Slovenia. I just don't think they have the depth to keep up. But we'll talk about it. Salute B. Willis, Danny, Knicks won. What's good? Yeah, I like this, Kerry. Dante DiVincenzo bringing us what Austin Reeves can bring. Yeah, similar games. Obviously, I think DiVincenzo is better defensively. Um, but yeah, Austin Reeves is really producing um, in terms of offensively. He's got the size, really. Um, yeah, I usually don't like to give the Lakers credit, but the contract they've got him on looks pretty solid, man. And there's a lot of talk. No other team offered him 100 mil, and the Lakers were able to retain him for 58 million. So that's looking pretty good. Also, as a projection, based on what he can become. Uh, yeah, I see you. Knicks one. I'm not sure who that is, but yeah, I think it's probably one of the players' fams. Killer Dog, salute. Streets are buzzing. Smashing that like button. For the Knicks off season, it's coming to a head. And these guys are about to make the next round. Yeah, the crowd's really loving Austin Reeves because they're a big Lakers community out there as well. A lot of front runners with that situation. Um, but yeah, so RJ Barrett will obviously have another easier final game of the first round. They'll play Latvia. They haven't played Latvia yet, but they've definitely qualified for the next round. So we wait to see who they play, and as well as Team USA. Now, with that said, I'll just bring up the groups. So yeah, the final game today will be Dominican Republic, as they're about to top their group. Italy, looking like they'll go through as well, and then like I said, USA and Greece should go through. Lithuania could offer some resistance, a nice challenge. I don't think they're good enough to get into the quarterfinals, but they should advance. Montenegro as well with Nick Vucevic. Obviously, Serbia have been winning all their games as well. They're about to go through. Shout out Puerto Rico as well. And I mentioned Germany or Australia. They had a really, really competitive game. Went down to the wire. Dennis Schroeder smoked Australia with 30 points. And they were missing Franz Wagner. So like I said, if there's a dark horse, don't sleep on Germany. Australia obviously have talent. They could bounce back as well. Whoever is that Germany and Australia group is going to end up with Luka, Slovenia in the next round, together with Georgia. And then Spain and Brazil look like they're going to get through. Obviously, I could see Spain getting through to the quarterfinals. Canada and Latvia, and Slovenia and Georgia as well. So a few teams that can hang, but I really probably see it coming down to the USA, Canada, Germany, Slovenia, maybe Australia, there's Spain, but we'll see. Like I said, the best thing is these easier games are going to get out of the way because knockout ball is what is better for these New York Knicks. Higher stakes, more pressure. I guess the closest thing to playoff ball, right? And then they can win these medals and then get back to the USA and get ready for the NBA season. But yeah, what you want to see is them stay healthy, win, be consistent, be efficient. We're not seeing anything different to what we haven't seen with the New York Knicks. It's just the world's kind of seeing what Josh Hart can produce. So shout out to Josh Hart. Yep. These teams got players, sell nobody short. Yep. Yeah, competition. Everyone's playing for pride. Everyone's playing physical. We've seen it with Latvia. They shot the lights out and they beat a quality team. We saw Japan. Japan shot crazy and came from behind, and also defeated one of their opponents. I think it was Finland. Yep. Yeah, Japan. Shout out. They got their first World Cup win. Obviously, Finland had Lauri Markkanen, and a very unheralded Japan team. No Hachimura. They had Yuta Watanabe, but they shot the lights out, and you can beat anybody. Interesting from Ingram. I think some of these guys are taking longer to adjust to the physicality. Yeah, like you guys said. Anthony Edwards, the go-to guy, we're really going to need him later in the rounds, and I do think that he's going to have that huge performance in one of these games. But yeah, with that said, speaking of huge performances, right, RJ Barrett, it was great to see him play really well. And I want to see how he looks when the stakes are higher as well. Like I said, Australia probably had the group of death, having Markin and Germany in their groups and those guys. But to be real, Canada and the USA have had a fairly easy group, playing a team like Lebanon, Latvia, and USA definitely with Greece, New Zealand, and Jordan coming up. They should rest people for Jordan. Let's keep that real. They don't need to play guys heavy minutes against Jordan. But that was one of the games of the tournament yesterday. Jordan and New Zealand, a comedy of errors. No team wanted to win. Jordan were down 4 points with 10 seconds remaining, and a former NBA guy, Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, was running the ball up the court and pulled up for three, and the New Zealand center fouled him for a 4-point play for LJ. It was a 4-point play with 10 seconds remaining. It was crazy. But went to overtime, they ended up losing as well. So action-packed. Some of these countries know they're not going to advance, but they're celebrating one win. Angola picked up their win representing Africa. Cape Verde, salute, and a shout out to South Sudan, also picking up their very first win in a World Cup competition. Well, they got the 16-year-old. So yeah, RJ Barrett shooting the 3 ball well. Let me pull up now the box score, and we'll go through the stats. Specifically, RJ, efficiency, but was also leading the team with attempts, 12 attempts, 7 of 12, 4 of 6 from the field, and 50% from deep. So that's exactly what you want to see, regardless of the opponent. Was a plus 32, and also pulled in 3 assists, so that's good. RJ Barrett with the 3 assists, 2 fouls, 2 turnovers, and just 1 rebound. Kind of surprising with just the 1 rebound, but then again, maybe Canada just wasn't missing. So yeah, 20 minutes, that's the sweet spot in a game like that. Do I expect Barrett's minutes to go up in the knockout rounds? You best believe that. When the stakes are higher, Barrett's minutes will go up. So, but that's good, 20 minutes on 17 points. Now we'll look at his chart, see where he got his shot attempts from. Now, I don't know what they're doing. It's not as clear, but I don't know if you can see. Obviously, you see Barrett's 3-point attempts. Shot quite a few there. But then the rest were all in the paint. So a couple of dunks and a couple of 3-point shots. 1 in the corner, 1 straight on, and 1 on the elbow, and 3 misses on the elbow as well. So we talked about it in the last episode, man. Maple Mamba, the guy's mentality doesn't waver in terms of whether he's shooting bad the previous game. He's not going to stop shooting. RJ Barrett will continue to shoot. He's not afraid to shoot, and it doesn't affect him, really. If you think about it, we've seen it before up close with the New York Knicks. And in terms of the box score, yeah, he had 6 attempts from deep, 3 of 6. So yeah, those were his attempts. What do you guys think? Salute JJ in the house. What's good? Yeah, the 16-year-old kid from South Sudan, he's a class of 2025 draft class. Yeah, NBA scouts salivating over him. Um, kind of like another taller, athletic guy who can shoot. It's going to be really enticing to see how he develops. Um, Karl Anthony Towns, yeah, Killer says trying to get that playing to get traded and a new max contract representing Dominican Republic, and I reckon they'll get to the next round. They're looking pretty solid. Um, one trend I've noticed is if a team has a solid big man and quality guards, that's a good combination, as we know, to help play inside and out. Um, Obviously, like I said, Germany, they got an NBA guard Schroeder, and they've got NBA big men. Puerto Rico have got solid guards, and they've got a good big man. Um, Obviously, Canada and USA do as well. Maybe not as good big men regarding Canada, but I think Brazil are going to be a team to watch as well. JJ says we need RJ to take that leap this season. The 5th year and his contract kicks in. Time to step it up. Yeah, I think RJ Barrett means business this season. I think he really knows what he's capable of. Obviously, playing a full season with Brunson. He's played a few seasons with Randall. And I think there's going to be less adjustment for all Knicks this regular season and training camp. It's basically just come in good conditioning and good rhythm and get ready to have a big season. Also, there's expectations around the league now. Teams aren't taking the Knicks lightly. They're going to come at us, and I think the Knicks will be one of those teams that's kind of the hunted. Previously, we're kind of like the hunters. Now I think teams are going to come into MSG expecting to play a really good team and go at us. So yeah, Bully Barrett, they're pulling up off the dribble as the crowd goes crazy. Dirty says RJ's looking more slippery on drives, enjoying having Olenek at the 5 who can stretch it. Yeah, I also think the speed. We talked about FIBA game, 40-minute games, short quarters, 10 minutes, and also players inbounding the ball really quick and just getting out on the break with turnovers. With all his time with the New York Knicks, RJ Barrett in transition has always been solid, above solid, in terms of getting out on the break, being athletic. A far cry from Alec Burks, who you kind of cringe when you see him on the break. So yeah, I think when these teams turn defense into their offense, like trying to stop RJ Barrett one-on-one on the break is difficult because he's big enough. He can put his body into you, and he can also his finishing has improved. Like everyone just keeps talking about the shot. I guess like for me, he can't. If his rhythm is off, he can't shoot himself out of games. He's just got to bully his way to the cup, find another way, or be a decoy, bully to the cup, and then find the open man. Like I said, reduce the tunnel vision, all of that. What's good? R. De La Cruz, salute. You can't count FIBA ball though, fellas. I'm sorry. I know there's a lot of good players overseas, but for every Dirk, there's a Frank Nitti. Yeah, that was a great question. Quiet Money asked us and me in the last ep about how much do I put stock in FIBA. These group games, I'm not putting much into it, like I said, because the stakes aren't even high. Not only is the opponent lesser, but the stakes aren't as high. But some of these like quarterfinals, semifinals, gold medal game, like best believe that I find that's important. So yeah, I really do feel like that's something that's going to mean a lot. Shorter 3-point line, less athletic players. Yep, that is one key, most definitely. Kerry says RJ squares up to the rim. He shoots a higher percentage. Yep. Salute. Okay, it looks like maybe the stream has been taken down. Yep. Looks like that is the case, I think. I'll just check. Yeah, I saw someone else comment this. I think it was a Dallas Mavericks person as well. So that's interesting. Well, it looks like we might be back. Let us know. Are we back? Yep.
Ever since I've known Josh, since the day we met, almost 10 years ago, he's been the same player. He's had the same mindset.
Okay, yep. Appreciate you, Killer. We're back.
He's a hard-working guy. Has the ability to do things on the court as every other NBA player does, and he takes pride in always doing the little things on a nightly basis. So he brings that toughness, that effort, and he's a different man. He goes out there, he's relentless, and he's been doing that since the day I met him.
Yeah, we're hearing from JB, Steve Kerr.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Josh is just a winner, you know. People ask what position does he play? He plays winner, you know. I don't know what position he plays, but he gets loose balls. He guards anybody. At one point, Spo turned to me and said, "Some people get 50-50 balls. He gets the 30-70 balls, you know." And I thought that was really
as the Cleveland
well
Cavaliers
said.
found out.
He just makes these plays with his effort and his physicality and his toughness, but also his skill. You know, he really pushes the ball well in transition.
He did. Yeah, he had a nice break, a layup, pushing the break.
That's when the first domino.
That's
falls
what he does.
And then you see the next 2 or 3 passes. Josh is often the first guy to create the advantage, and he just has a unique game, and what he does translates to winning.
Yeah, just playing his role, just one of the best role players in the NBA, and I think the rest of the league is kind of understanding that. You know, with regards to what he's been able to do for us, especially in the playoffs, against the Cavs, like I mentioned. But I always talk about Tibbs's usage of Josh Hart. It's got to be a case of, not overplaying a role player. He's great for you in the doses, but to close some games out, you need more shooting. Sometimes, maybe it's like the final couple of plays. Yeah, you need him out there to pull you a rebound, defend well. I get that, but yeah, you just need more shooting around around Josh Hart. But yeah, speaking of shooting, like Jalen Brunson's shooting has just gone to another level. A pull-up scorer, 3-level scorer, getting to the paint, drawing fouls, all of that. For younger players like Grimes, Quickly, Barrett, to play with him, and I learn a lot for their games. It's going to be really helpful for them. But yeah, learning to not just be a good player, but be a leader and put the team first is important as well. RJ Barrett's one of the leaders of Team Canada, you could say also, because in terms of being around his age, right? Being the lead scorer the other night, understanding that they're going to go through him quite a bit, right? So that's really good competition in itself, a good practice. We talked about inferior opponents, and no doubt that the next round's going to be better because, these guys just haven't faced very good opponents so far. But just playing with different teammates and learning different play styles, like I said, learning to fit into the team concept is good. Like normally these guys aren't getting anything like this in any normal off season. It's just pickup ball or pickup runs, pro-ams. Like I said about the opponents, but this is still organized basketball, and it's better than nothing. It's kind of like the best off season run, runway into what's going to be a huge season. But not much competition so far, I agree. I mean, JJ, if you can imagine Giannis was playing, if you imagine Wembanyama and Joel Embiid was playing, if you imagine KP was playing for Latvia, it'd be very different. I think a lot of these teams could surprise. Who else is injured? I feel like some other people. Look, Jamal Murray, obviously Andrew Wiggins, if they were playing, that gold medal game would be on. But yeah, let's talk about the other major news today, right? So we already heard that Thanasis Antetokounmpo was offered a contract by the New York Knicks. He decided he picked the Milwaukee Bucks, but he gave some new quotes yesterday. In the second half of this graphic, talking about he was revealing he was close to leaving Milwaukee for the Knicks. So the Knicks clearly probably outlay a role for him and how he could help this team. I'm going to guess it was probably, being that backup four, playing a role off the bench. But we kind of need more shooting. So it's interesting. I think it's a little bit of everything. Obviously we saw some value in giving him a contract. We've got Isaiah Roby. We've got Daquan Jeffries still on the roster as well. So he's got more NBA experience. But then, a lot of people talking about Thanasis only has a gig in the NBA because of his brother. So the Knicks are trying to show how much they wanted him. And then it was a bit of back and forth. And then Milwaukee ended up prevailing. Adrian Griffin, the new coach, ended up convincing him that how much he wanted him. So let me know, guys, is this a war over his brother, basically, in order to please Giannis long term? Is it a long-term play to show how much these organizations are just trying to look out for the brothers? What do you guys think? Obviously, the bigger news also today dropped from Mark Stein's newsletter, and he's hearing the Lakers and the Knicks are already being mentioned as franchises presumed to have interest in Giannis down the road if he does decide to leave, which just made a slew of moves, re-signing Middleton, Brook Lopez, and Budenholzer being replaced by Griffin. To try to appease the face of the franchise. So, stars always get accommodated. They're rolling out the red carpet for Giannis as much as they possibly can. But winning is ultimately, that's going to be it. If Giannis bails, it's going to be that he feels like he just can't win there anymore. Obviously, Greek heritage, he might be, flirting with a bigger market. We always talk about it. But the biggest factor we can't ignore is that the Knicks are winning now, right? A lot of fans are not as content as some talking about the roster's mid, we're spending money we shouldn't, things like that. There's a value on winning around the league as well, which is one of the reasons Tom Thibodeau, Leon Rose was brought in. Whether or not this team has actually reached its ceiling or not, we're winning, and that is going to be attractive for players, star players. They're not going to want to leave to be the savior. And I think it goes back to Jalen Brunson. So much of us have talked about, right, okay, we've already got one guy that a star could look at and say, hey, if I go to New York, I'm not just going to be the guy. There's already someone who's all-star, all-NBA, and there's Julius Randle as well, if he's still on the team when the next guy decides to come. So I'm not assuming he's just looking at the Knicks because it's New York. I'm assuming also somewhere in there is that the Knicks are good, that we're relevant, we're going to be a team that Giannis could feel like, or Joel Embiid or someone else could feel like if they come here, we're going to be, he's going to put us over the top, basically, in the East. And that would, basically, because Milwaukee would get worse. Philly's already up and down. And then Miami's trying to get their older star as well. And then Boston, we know there's some chemistry fit as well. So the New York Knicks are building their roster of tradable contracts, kind of middling salaries. We're competitive. We could go as far as we possibly can in the playoffs. But in the meanwhile, we're still attractive for guys. So obviously the Lakers, we know, are going to go all in. But with LeBron, let's say he's not around in 2 more years. Is that going to be attractive enough for Giannis over the Knicks? If there's some kind of sign and trade that needs to be done, is the Knicks able to, appease Milwaukee enough? Would Giannis bail on Milwaukee without helping them? Is another big factor as well. He seems to be quite loyal. To me, this is kind of not a trade request. It's the step before a trade request where it's, okay, we need to change something, guys. We need a better focus. We need improvement, and I'm not convinced. Like Dirty mentioned the other day, it's basically a push along for Giannis and the organization to say, hey, do these things. Make sure you do the necessary to keep us competitive. With that said, I think Giannis in the FIBA game would be interesting. You could definitely surround him with more shooters. But I don't think they still would have won. I feel like USA's got good chemistry, I think. And they're just going to get better each game. With that said, so give us your thoughts. Give me your thoughts on this situation with Giannis and Thanasis. Right. With the Thanasis thing, like I said, I feel like it is a bit of both. He's a role player. We could probably see a small role for him. But it's the fact that we're looked at as, hey Giannis, we're trying to look after your brother already. If the time comes for you to choose another NBA franchise, hey, what better than the world's best, the Mecca? We're here. What's good, chef? Yeah, it's the Brunson effect, but it's the overall team chemistry. How excited our current players are in New York. Players talk, and they all know there's something great happening here. Yeah, great point. Great comment. Also, the fan base. Yes, we obviously can get on players, but then if you're good in New York, look how much you get hyped up. Like Brunson's living up to the hype, but fan base that we're hyping him up. Josh Hart is a role player, but we're hyping him up. They're producing, but the fan base is giving them so much love, and I think there's a huge, obviously, international community in New York. So if Giannis or Embiid was to ever come to New York, they're set. They're they've got everything in New York that they could possibly need, and we're competitive. Obviously, this ain't just rumors. It's Mark Stein, who's been a long-time NBA insider for many, many years, right? Obviously, the Lakers and the Knicks are the two biggest media markets in the league. But they're both franchises are in good positions, which is even more sexy for a franchise star. Like I said, him and Donovan Mitchell specifically have been in small markets their whole career, and they could be thinking long term as well. Where Giannis has talked about wanting to be a huge businessman, a successful businessman as well. That's one of the reasons also LeBron chose LA. He's got his Hollywood production company, endless opportunities for Bronny James, his family, the weather, all of that. But also, in New York, Julius Randle's getting national commercials, billboards, all of those things. Jalen Brunson now shining for Team USA, and all of that stuff. So that's great. And more to come. I think obviously James Harden is another huge domino effect. It's looking like it's going to be a standoff with him and Daryl Morey in terms of who's going to blink first, right? Then I don't think they're going to get the trade value that they need. So Harden's going to have to just put up or shut up, come back, maybe try to win one more time, because if they traded him, they're not going to get the right value back, I think, with that said. So we talked about our Knicks headed to the second round of this major tournament. We talked about some teams that could, give some Team USA and Canada some problems. But ultimately, I think they're definitely going to make it to the semis and win at least the bronze for both of them. They'll be in the semi-final bronze medal game with the opportunity to make it to the gold medal game. But the Dominican Republic handling their business, top of their group. Karl Anthony Towns has looked pretty good. So I think they're going to be someone who can probably make light work of these other teams. Luka and Slovenia looked excellent. So he's having a huge effect on them. I expect them to probably get through at least to the quarterfinals. Germany will, I feel. Obviously Canada, Spain, Lithuania, possibly Australia in there as well, one of those teams as well. So there's not much competition, but it's going to be knockout phase. It's going to be do or die, and lose or you go home. So at least it's going to be more entertaining for us, but it's going to be more competitive for these players, right? The physicality is going to go up another notch. The pressure, the expectations is going to go up. Kind of like playoff elimination ball, where you just can't afford to get knocked out. But Dennis Schroeder, FIBA Dennis Schroeder looks like a different animal. He's a guy who scored 30 on a good defensive team, Australia, and they didn't have Franz Wagner as well. So they could be a future dynamic duo for Germany. And they've obviously got a few other guys, Daniel Tice, Isaac Bonga, and Mo Wagner as well. So they've got the depth to deal with a lot of problems. Killer says, Embiid wants to have that Ewing moment in the Garden, like we will win. I think if the time comes, and hopefully it's soon, but one of these two big names will kind of just probably grow stale with their environment, their market, It's easier for Giannis, as I said, because he's won a championship. Right? He's got nothing left to prove in Milwaukee. He's won an MVP, and he's still renowned as the best or one of the best in the game, and he's won that championship. So it's kind of like, I can just do what set myself up for the future now. Go to New York, build on my legacy, and then also become a billionaire tycoon businessman in New York. something like that. But will MSG still be there? What do you guys think also of the news? Could MSG end up moving, right? The council only gave MSG a 5-year permit length, the shortest length ever. So they could be thinking about something. Let's see, man. It's interesting. Obviously, the Garden had a big renovation, spent a lot of money on it. Steph Bondi says it just stalls the convo about MSG moving. Obviously, he's not afraid to spend money, billions of dollars on that sphere. Could it be a new arena, a new mega arena with 25, 30,000 people? Getting a permit in New York City is going to be tough, though. Man, let's hope the world's most famous just stays where it's at. But at least, yeah, we got 5 more years. But man, we're going to hear more about this. Best believe that. Diras salute in the house. What's good? 53 wins coming your way for this season. The Knicks, I think, yeah, they're going to be among the top of the East. Health, depth, experience, continuity is all there for the New York Knicks. And I do think we're going to start well. Yeah, best believe that. So, in terms of making this light work of the opponents in this tournament, the New York Knicks have guaranteed a second round berth, except for Evan Fournier. So, yeah, a lot of thinking for Evan for the rest of this offseason, right? He's got to think about now, he hasn't been traded, he's knocked out of FIBA. What's he going to do? Probably go on a mini vacation and then start to, his agent is probably going to be pushing for that trade at any point. So now France, they've got one more game and then they're officially eliminated. But USA will play Jordan. I hope they don't play Jalen Brunson a lot in that game. So that'll be their final group game tomorrow. And then there will be another game for Canada, who will play Latvia. Latvia beat Lebanon. Latvia beat France, obviously knocked Evan Fournier out. They also beat Lebanon. So Latvia will play Canada. That'll be a solid game. Probably Canada's best opponent so far outside of France. So another big performance hopefully coming up from Bully Barrett. And we'll chop it up. Dirty says, I truly believe if MB can keep it close, Brunson can close it out. In terms of playing together, in terms of winning a chip, I always talk about fit for two of your stars, right? Talk about Denver, right? If you want to be something, always look at who's in that position. The Denver Nuggets, they've got a great big man and a great small man as well. You could play inside and out. Those teams with 2 solid guards but no good big men. Look at Cleveland. You just not throwing shade at Jarrett Allen and Mobley, but they've got 2 solid perimeter guards, but their big men was found wanting. That's the same as the Clippers' problem as well. They've just got wings. They don't have solid big men. The Lakers went pretty far. They've got Anthony Davis and they've got guards. I honestly believe, let's say if Minnesota upgraded their guard play, we'll see. Anthony Edwards looks like he's going to break out and be maybe the most improved player. If Karl Anthony Towns can have a good year, maybe Minnesota get better. But yeah, with a great point guard and a great big man, that's a lethal combo. Like Germany have in this tournament, they've got Schroeder, and then they had Wagner as well. They were able to beat Australia, missing their starting big man. Jock Landale went down. One could talk about with Luka, Dallas really need that good big man. to rim protect to help out Luka. Although, there's question marks in terms of the chemistry with Luka. He is a ball hog. Kristaps Porzingis, right? Theoretically, that pairing should have worked better because what's Luka great at? Passing. What's KP great at? Shooting. But KP couldn't stay healthy. KP, also there were some egos at play, but yeah, KP regressed. He's better in Washington. But let's see what happens with Dallas. I do think they'll be better, and so that the New York Knicks will get the first round draft pick past the 10th pick, either 11th or onwards. But we'll wait to see. So the New York Knicks will have many draft picks possibly this year, and I think that's going to probably move the needle, the timeline forward for us to make that decision on what we're going to do. But it's all going to be dependent on what we look like in this regular season for the Knicks. Because if we look amazing at the trade deadline, I don't think they're going to make any kind of move unless it's to put us over the top. But that's always tricky to make in season. We always saw it. And generally these franchises don't pivot until the off season in terms of a Giannis or a Joel Embiid or LeBron James decision. All of those things always happen in the off season. I can't really remember the last star that was moved at the trade deadline. Even the Donovan Mitchell thing happened last off season also. So I think, like I said, if I was a betting man, I said last episode, I think we're going to run this season with the squad we have, see what it looks like, and then make huge decisions. But yeah, I'm expecting 50 plus wins, and we'll see what we look like in the playoffs. But yeah, these guys are building their experience, they're building their chemistry. Jalen Brunson is that closer, like Dirty says. I really feel like he could close for Team USA, and he showed he could close for the New York Knicks. I bet he wish he could just have that final playback over and over in Miami, where he drove into traffic and didn't pass the ball back out. But it was Josh Hart there who was hesitant to shoot. So I think he'll learn from that. Again, he hasn't played a whole lot of playoff ball, has Jalen Brunson. It's been a situation where it was Dallas like 2 years ago, and then with the Knicks last off season. So he's just coming into his prime now, not even 27 years old. We saw a different looking Julius Randle also playing with Jalen Brunson. And hopefully this year it's RJ Barrett also. But yeah, man, that's the recap, talking about the big wins for Team USA and Canada moving forward in this tournament. Giannis Antetokounmpo's talk about his future with his brother as well, with the Knicks, extending an opportunity to his brother, Thanasis. We talked about the MSG council permit only being extended for 5 years. So we're going to hear more about that in the future, best believe that. And also we talked about recently the Raptors-Knicks lawsuit, the civil suit as well. So coming into this season, there's some storylines still early, but we're approaching close to a month from training camp. Under 2 months until media day training camp. The rest of this FIBA action will fly by, and I will be looking forward to the rest of this season. Got quite a few guests lined up that I've just got there ready to talk about the season once this FIBA situation's done, and once we get close to training camp, we'll be doing a full season preview and all of that. But yeah, it's great conversations. Knicks 1 says Embiid, Giannis, Luka, Spider, Paul George, not going to happen and doesn't need to happen. Top team in the East, as is for the next 3 seasons. Needs steady continuity and culture. Yep. Great points. look, in the playoffs, I think we proved we could definitely get as far as the Eastern Conference Finals. Beating a team like Denver might be a different story. But let's see. Yeah, this team continues to build on what they've got. But I feel like to win it all in the playoffs, winning that, especially the NBA Finals game, it's going to be tough. But I can't underestimate Jalen Brunson taking another leap, RJ Barrett taking another leap, Julius Randle as well. So I agree fully with the continuity factor as well. Also, yeah, Grimes and Quickly, not going to forget about them, right? They could really, come into their own and become an all-star level player in the future as well. So there's a point to be made about building with what you've got and just developing your players, developing talent, and getting better every year as well. Remember, Denver flamed out of the playoffs many years ago, and it took them more times to build their roster up and get to that next level to challenge fully. But yeah, we'll get ready to wrap this baby up, as it's been a great show. We're talking about the FIBA action and our Knicks shining on the world stage. And what's coming up next, knockout rounds, as we get ready to preview the upcoming Knicks season. Continue to talk about the league landscape. How does the rest of the league look? Some of these stars might want out, and I might be looking at the New York Knicks, the Big Apple, as their next destination. But for right now, we good. We got a situation where we're coming into the season with what we've got, and we're a top team in the East, and we're ready for any challenge, any competition. We take it head on. Yep, IQ taking a big leap, big season for him. I hope he wins the sixth man. He was really deserving of that. Malcolm Brogdon's going to regress as well. He's got a chip and he's hungry. Yep, watch what happens. We'll be watching, we'll be covering, fam. Salute to the best chat in the biz. Salute Replay Gang. Smashing that like button. The streets are buzzing. Jalen Brunson dropping dimes as well. And we'll be covering the rest of this tournament. We'll see you after the third game for both teams. We'll recap it and we'll look at the fixture in terms of who they're going to play next. But we went through the teams, and I think these teams are going to end up, Canada and USA will end up in the medal rounds. Best believe that. And we'll talk about it then. Salute. Peace. We out.